The game changer, the so-called game changer, the javelin are short in supply. So are the himars. There are fears that there will be a civil unrest in the next couple of months in Europe. Ukrainians are unable to shoot down these drones as they are coming in large quantities. He's the same person who was posted in Syria, where he reduced a city into a rubble. This same person given charge now for the operation in Ukraine. So where are all the ammo coming for Russia? Because even they can face shortages. The Russia-Ukraine conflict is reaching a very critical phase. With the winter just about to start, we are seeing Ukrainian cities suddenly in the last 1 week being pounded by the Russians. The capital Kyiv is regularly being bombarded with missiles. The Iranian drones are being unleashed on the capital. Ukrainians are unable to shoot down these drones as they are coming in large quantities, and to be honest, they don't stand a chance. With machine guns and anti-tank missiles being used to target these drones, it is highly unlikely that they would be able to shoot down these drones. Meanwhile, in Washington, experts are saying that the US government is running short of ammunition. The game changer, the so-called game changer, the javelin are short in supply. So are the himars. And in fact, even the howitzers, which have done really well, are also short in supply. Experts are pointing out that in the coming months, supplies from the US are going to reduce to Ukraine. At the same time, we are seeing this escalation from Russia's side, especially after the Crimea bridge attack. So what's in store in the next couple of months for Ukraine? Things are not looking that great. To start with, their cities are being pounded again. Over the last 3 to 4 months, there was a break. When I say break, at least the cities were not being pounded. There was a lot of action on the border and on the eastern side, but at least the cities were not being pounded. But now they are being pounded. Embassies of almost all the countries are calling back their citizens from Ukraine because they all fear that the winter is not going to be good. Because Russia is currently one by one taking out the electrical grid and the energy infrastructure of Ukraine. If you observe the pattern, in all the cities that Russians have attacked, they have gone after the power grid. They've gone after gas stations. They've gone after the energy infrastructure. Their objective seems to be to cripple Ukraine and make them face a very deadly winter. We're talking about a country which has the world's coldest place on earth, with temperatures reaching -10, -20 all over Ukraine. It is going to be extremely difficult for Ukrainians to stay in these cities. Hence, embassies from all over the world have recalled their citizens from Ukraine. They are advising no one to travel to Ukraine. Russians know this and they are going after this. In fact, the new general appointed by Vladimir Putin has publicly made statements that he will not prefer a long-drawn urban guerrilla warfare with the Ukrainian army. He's the same person who was posted in Syria, where he reduced a city into a rubble. This same person given charge now for the operation in Ukraine is not a good sign for the world because he is not keen on fighting a guerrilla warfare. His approach clearly seems to be to bomb the cities and scare the Ukrainians out of these cities. But I'm not sure whether this is going to work because ultimately, if they want to take control of these cities, they need feet on ground. But we have to wait and watch. At the moment, the Russians are going after the energy infrastructure. There will be most likely a blackout in Ukraine in the next couple of months. What's important to note here is that the West, largely the US, which has been supplying himars and your javelins and other weapons to Ukraine, is slowly but surely reducing supplies of arms to Ukraine. That will have major impact on Ukraine in this war. Meanwhile, protests have erupted all over Europe, especially in France, Italy, Germany. People are protesting against NATO. With all these things are not looking good for Ukraine. Most likely, they will face challenges with lack of ammunition. That gives Russia the advantage. But you must be thinking that this war has been going on for the last 8 months. So where are all the ammo coming for Russia? Because even they can face shortages. Well, it seems that Vladimir Putin has prepared for this conflict for a very long time with a lot of reserves. And to be fair, the Russian military industry complex has not been targeted in this war so far. So they are probably replenishing the arms that they are using. But till when? Because we are seeing reports of Ukraine continuously striking Belgrade and few other Russian territories in the last couple of weeks. Certain energy infrastructure in these Russian cities are being targeted by Ukraine, and that is a very, very worrying factor, not only for Ukraine, for the world. Because if Russia sees that its own territories are under danger, they would be forced to take some difficult measures. And that difficult measure may not be conventional also. At least that's what being painted by the analysts from the West. Some of the analysts fear that there is a chance of Vladimir Putin using a nuclear weapon on Ukraine. But I personally think that it's too early to assume that he would do so. Because if he wanted to do that, probably he would have done that by now. Clearly, Vladimir Putin didn't go after the cities in the initial phase of the war. In my opinion, Russia will use the nukes only if their own territory deep inside Russia is targeted. Again, I may be wrong, but that's what I feel. But in any case, the winter is not going to be good for Ukraine. It is going to be very, very dark. In fact, for the entire Europe, this winter will be a challenge. There are fears that there will be a civil unrest in the next couple of months in Europe. This will further put the leaders in the European Union to look within and fix the gas prices and address the energy crisis. Street lights are being switched off at 8 p.m. in a lot of European countries. Many of the Europeans are paying through their nose for the gas bills. Electricity supply is in shortage. Fuel prices have skyrocketed in the petrol pumps. In fact, in France, the workers of the petrol pumps are protesting. Governments are under pressure. In fact, the entire world is staring at a recession in the next couple of months. We don't know how this is going to end, but the next few months are definitely going to be difficult. This is Digrish signing off from Macro Story. Stay tuned for the next macro story. Subscribe to the channel and like the video.